Good morning, Hope family. It's Pastor Dan, and I wanted to bring you guys another little devotional message or encouragement into your lives this week. So it's another one of those with a meme, all right? That's how we started out. So I found this meme recently, and I loved it. And I love it for a couple of reasons. One, I love it just because anything that mentions Chuck Norris is inherently cool. Once went to a restaurant and they had more Chuck Norris quotes than I've ever seen around the bathroom. It made you just want to sit there and read every single one of them. But the second reason I like this meme is because I think it's kind of highly relatable for us right now, which is that we all wish we had Chuck Norris-like superpowers so that we could go out into the world and not worry about any virus, that we were so tough that the virus would bounce off us and we could just go about and kind of live a normal life. That's probably as much as any of us would hope and dream for right now, is that we could just go out in the world and live a normal life. I think we're all starting to go maybe a little bit nuts with all the things that we can't do anymore like we normally would be. And we're starting to feel like we're missing out on things. I sit there and I'm realizing, man, we're in mid-April right now. Kel should be halfway through his baseball season, and we have only played one game this entire year, and it doesn't look very likely that we'll get to play any more baseball this year. He's missing out on that, right? My daughter Damaris is missing out on dance right now, and I know she's getting really worried that they won't even get to have a recital. They're doing practices as best they can via video, but they're getting nervous. And I think about the kids who are missing out on once in a lifetime events. I know that we have a lot of high school seniors who realize they're not going to get to walk in a traditional graduation. They're missing out on those things. Every single one of us in our lives are missing out on things that are small, regular things, and probably looking at some bigger things that we're missing and sad about as well. And it made me think about a scripture passage. This is a really famous scripture passage. It's got, of course, a famous Beatles song that was made after it. So the Beatles didn't do it first. Solomon wrote it first in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read a couple little selections from it. There's a time for everything and a season for every activity under heaven. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to tear down, a time to build, a time to weep, and a time to laugh. And then later on it continues, He's made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the hearts of men, yet they cannot fathom what God has done from beginning to end. I know that there's nothing better for men than to be happy and to do good while they live, that everyone may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all his toil. This is the gift of God. There's something really beautiful in that. And an encouragement, I think, for us right now as we live in such an unusual time is to look and say, well, I guess there's a time for coronavirus. There's a time for us to be mostly stuck in our homes, and even a time for this kind of isolation. And then there will be a time when those restrictions are lifted and we'll go back into those other normal elements of life. But the question is, how do we find purpose in this time right now? I think God has some guidance. If your time right now is to eat and drink and toil around your house, then that's what we focus on. We try to do our best with those things. And we try to bring purpose to anything we can do in the place where we're at in life and say, okay, God, this is my time. This is my time to spend more time with family. This is my time to take Kel in the backyard and play baseball with him just in the backyard. This is a time for Dee Dee to practice that much more at home and try to do her best in video. And if there's no recital, then to celebrate it in any way we can in our house. And even for the seniors then to say, okay, God, the ceremonies are cool. And yet it's more what you're doing in my life right now. I'm thinking about that transition to the next stage in life too. That you've got some plans for those times as well. And so I pray for all of you and for me as well, that this encouragement from King Solomon and Ecclesiastes would be applied to our lives. Look at your life right now. Think about this time and what this season looks like and what God has in store for you in this season. Find a purpose and a joy to that right now for this day. Amen. Thank you. I'll see you guys soon.